63 years old, by the way. And hashtag never forget. If you Google image search Joan Jett Camel Toe, it will be her and our own Erica Lauren. Little two-shot from years ago, I think, when Erica went backstage at the Joan Jett show. Joan Jett, of course, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 2015 is when she went in. It was here in Cleveland. I saw it go down. Miley Cyrus inducted her. And Joan Jett can still wail, boy. She and Ted Nugent are having beef. If you know anything about Ted Nugent,
it's curtains for you, Ted.
He loves beef. It's meat curtains for you, Ted. It just turned into, this is, I kind of understand where Nugent's coming from here for once. He said she didn't belong on Rolling Stone's list of 100 greatest guitarists. And she said he was mad because he wasn't on it. And for once, Ted kind of took the high ground. He's like, look, I'm a big fan. I just don't think... listen, if somebody asked me, is Joan Jett one of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time? That would never occur to me to have her on there.
She does less with more. Or more with less.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know what she does. I mean, I don't...
I've never seen her, like, shred.
Right.
And, you know, this is a pretty basic three-chord song. I think that's what her stuff is. So...
And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, if you...
yeah, that's like putting... Like, Joey Ramone is one of the greatest...
Singers of all time?
Yeah. Like, he's got a very unique, distinct voice, but he ain't good.
And
it works.
Yeah, irrespective of what you think of Ted Nugent, I mean, Ted Nugent's a really good guitar player. But he said, look, I like her, but we've been going back and forth in the press because she don't like me.
So I'm talking about the top 100 guitar player list on Rolling Stone magazine, and I mentioned that Joan Jett. I love Joan Jett.
He always sounds like his dentures are too big for his mouth. He's got like the horse teeth or something.
How I love Joan Jett. I love her music. She's the real McCoy, down and dirty garage band. Joan, I love ya. I said nothing but nice things about her. I just said there's a lot of killer guitar players that are really killer guitar players, and Joan's just a good guitar player. She makes great music. So then she got wind of it and just viciously attacked me personally, that I was jealous because I'm not on it. I'm not jealous that I'm not on. It's just, let's be honest.
It is interesting, though, and Ted Nugent is another one of these, like, super right-wing guys who, if you say something he doesn't like, it's considered a vicious attack. Mm-hmm. Viciously attacked me. Of course, Joan Jett is coming from the perspective of, I've been written off my whole life, and so I don't need someone like Ted Nugent telling me that I shouldn't be on the list. And I'm sure she's got issues with, Ted's way of life, too. I mean, these girls that came out of the Runaways, Lita Ford, Sherry Curry, Joan Jett, I mean, they got worked over by their manager, by the way. I mean, that guy's handprints weren't just all over the music. They were all over the girls. I don't know if you've ever seen that Joan Jett documentary.
No.
But there's a lot of... or the Runaways movie. Kristen Stewart, I think, played Joan Jett. And it's kind of gross. But Ted Nugent, Joan Jett. If you had Nuge and Joan Jett beefing on your rock and roll bingo card, and I don't think Ted Nugent is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame either. She is. I don't think he is. And I think that Ted Nugent should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know why he's not. I certainly hope it's not because of politics.
I don't think it's because of that. I don't think he's... I mean, I know he's had hit songs, but they always talk about the influence that people have.
But there are a lot of guitar players who will tell you, Ted Nugent, the Motor City Madman, Sweaty Teddy, it was a big deal in the 70s, man, a big deal. Listen, you couldn't get further apart politically than Tom Morello and Ted Nugent, but musically, they're pals. He's like, look, I love Ted Nugent's music. And a lot of rock and roll's dumb. That's the fun part of it.
Yeah.
But Ted's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He thinks it's ridiculous that he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I tend to agree. There are a lot of people who aren't in who should be in.
Right.
Dolly Parton is beating Ted Nugent. The Eurythmics are beating Ted Nugent into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Maybe
I'd be pissed. I'd be mad too. Hey, yeah, it's Ted Nugent calling. Who's getting in this year? Eminem.
I need to know the list again.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Eminem, Dolly Parton.
Who's calling? It's Ned Nugent. I'm not mad.
Ned
Ted got this.
Nugent.
Carly
Ned
Simon, one of the hardest rockers of them all.
Theodore Nugent, Esquire.
Yeah, I just don't know much about Ted Nugent, and I've only ever I know Cat Scratch Fever and a few songs, but then
How do you know that was
I'm sorry, you know what?
Rat Bite Fever.
Oh, Rat Bite Fever. That's the one. I had never heard of the other one. Listen, that's a public health announcement.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who suffer from rat bite fever.
I knew more about his loud mouthery than his music.
Yeah, I think if you're a certain age, that's how you know him. But if you go back, like Wango Tango and Intensity in 10 Cities, and it's all silly. But there's some Ted Nugent stuff. It's a staple on classic rock radio when I was coming up. So especially in Michigan, Jesus, when I first moved to Kalamazoo, all we were playing was Nugent and Seeger. Playing Stranglehold. That's when I went to take a dump. Stranglehold's 8 minutes long.
There you go.
Yeah. If I had to pull a grumpy, I get out there and see. If I saw Kashmir.
Don't pull it. Drop it.
Huh?
Don't pull it. You got to drop a grumpy. You don't pull a grumpy.
Well, no. People say you take one. You don't take it either. By the way, Beck also did not get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Now that's blasphemy.
That is kind of blasphemy. I saw he's going to open for Arcade Fire. Which.
That's weird.
Well, I guess he's doing it acoustically.
Okay.
Okay. But Beck's awesome. But he's going to do the.
I have no turntables and one microphone.
No turntables and one microphone. Yeah, so Arcade Fire, for the people who are waiting for them to come back, Beck is going to do acoustically opening their North American dates. They're not coming to Cleveland, at least not in the initial dozen dates. You'll have to go to Toronto or Chicago to see them. And if you want to see Beck stripped down, which I don't think I want to.
I would want to see Beck, but I don't want to see Arcade Fire.
No. But
I think Beck doing an acoustic set would be fun to watch, but
he's so good with all the wiki that he's a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah, I want to see both.
Maybe it'll be like that. Maybe it won't be just him and a guitar and a stool. Maybe it'll be more of a Reggie Watts type situation. But
I would like it to be like the one-man band kind of thing where he's got like the cymbals on the knees, the
he's got a bass drum on his back.
Harmonica and that little stand thing.
Yeah,
that
Neil Young rests on your chest and you can blow the harp. If you don't blow the harp, you don't get no tang. Everybody knows that. Alan, I used to sell appliances for Home Depot. You can't believe how many people would come in and ask for the color Bisquick instead of bisque. We don't sell pancakes. Alan, I worked in record stores for years, and people used to come in asking where the Aretha Franklin was all the time. Yeah, well, I got people in my store asking for their nachos with jalapenos. I had a customer ask me where the documentaries were when I worked at the Blockbuster. Yo, man, where's the documentaries? Where's that Cinema Verite? That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, all right. Well,
I mean, if things had gone a certain way, we'd all be saying jalapenos. Because there's other words that we karaoke. We don't say it the right way, but it's just become standard.
Mm-hmm. That is true. What's happening?
Nothing.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you have
Just don't worry about it.
just a bag rustling?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that? Well, who's rustling a bag?
I'm just searching for something funny to say in that bag.
In that bag?
Yeah.
You know what? My bag is full of, it's a punchline bucket, Mary.
Yeah.
Pull out one of those punchlines.
There you go.
See what you got.
One of what? These?
Yeah, from the bucket.
We've never done this. I think this is a
No,
thing when
it's a-
I'm not
it's a Gwen
here.
thing.
We
Yeah.
do it with Gwen, but we can do it. You can.
Alan, what do you mean you don't like the American Campfire? Remember Ted Nugent's American Campfire?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
From a few months ago? That's
Not great.
Now, the lyrics suck, but the guitar... Pull up a stump. That's some white people stuff, isn't it, Poundcake? Holy cow.
Yeah. I've never
Wow.
Pull up a stump, man. No,
Pull up a stump.
Wouldn't
Chuck
like
Berry
to
be
do
like,
that
what have
very
you
much.
done to my music?
By the way, a stump is firmly in the ground. You can't pull up a stump.
You can cut a stump and roll it around. Or
Well,
pick it up.
no.
Yeah.
With an implement, you could. But if
Yeah.
you're at a campfire, you go to where the stump is. You don't pull up like it's a chair.
I understand
You don't
that.
pull a stump.
Maybe he's a stump puller.
Yeah, you can get a stump grinder.
Yeah.
You can grind it out. But then you got no stump. You got mulch.
That's one of my favorite. Talk about satisfying videos. Stump removal.
Stump grinding?
Stump grinding, stump removal. Very satisfying.
When we had our patio poured year before last, we had a couple of big trees in the backyard that needed to come down. And so once they chopped them down and the stump grinder comes out, because the guy told me, he goes, you can rent one of these and you can do it yourself if you want. And I almost did. And I
Just
was
to
like,
play?
well, because I had cut the trees down pretty much by myself. And I was like, well, maybe I'll do that. But I was like, you know what? I want to see a guy do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it myself. Because if I screw it up, it's not something you can screw up. I'm like, if I screw it up,
Because you go from a stump grinder to a stump haver.
well, you go to a stump hoagie. That's the next part of it. Yeah, so then you got a bunch of... Although our stump grinder, it was no fault of his own. It was just maybe fate, Mary? Mm-hmm. When he was grinding the stump, the machine winged a huge part of wood through one of our patio glass doors and shattered the
no.
door. He's like, I guess I got to buy you a new door now.
And
I'm
who
like,
did you call
yeah,
to
you
fix
do.
that window?
Who did I call to fix? They called.
Oh,
It wasn't on me. It was on them.
Got it.
He was buying me a new patio door.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have called Window Nation.
There you go.
there it is.
Yes, but I didn't. It wasn't on me. Yeah.
Now that with all the grumpy talk, I wonder if there's a stump grinding company that can capitalize off of that and maybe name their company Drop a Stumpy. I don't know. Maybe they can work that in.
Stump and Grumps?
You know what? I don't think Grumpy is taken off the way I thought it would.
I had no idea
really
what
bummed.
you guys were talking about.
Johnny
Not
Depp
a
referred
clue.
to Amber Heard's turd as a grumpy. She
Yeah.
put a grumpy in the bed.
Yeah.
And we thought that was hilarious for about half an hour.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was real. So I thought that was going to have some
Be
legs.
more of a thing, yeah.
I thought that turd was going to have some legs.
No.
It did not. You watch any of the Amber Heard's up there talking, and she's telling some stories, man. These two were filming each other. There's photos of, it's just so embarrassing.
I don't understand how you have this much money and this, like, you can have the best life and you are just engulfed in miserable times because of the people that you surround yourself
Yeah,
with.
people like drama.
Not me.
She's telling these stories about like Johnny Depp penetrating her with a liquor bottle and like all this gross.
You have not.
Which end?
You've done that?
That's when you know you got to keep her.
But like, it was
You have not.
It was by request.
Stop it.
A liquor bottle.
Put a bottle
She
in
said,
me.
go get a whiskey bottle. That's what
Well,
I
it
would
was
like.
already there. We were in a hotel.
Was it one of the
There's-
airplane bottles?
No, it was.
I'd rather have a
the
bottle in
neck-
front of me than a frontal lobotomy, Mary.
Am I right?
the neck of a bottle of.
And you didn't say, no thank you.
You know how many hands have touched that?
It was our bottle.
Yeah, but other people touched it at the store before you did.
You know how you take hands and touch the vagina I put it in?
Yeah, but that's
God. But she's taken showers
Right, that's what I mean.
since then.
Well, all right. It worked out fine.
Anyway,
It was just an in the moment thing that we did. It was Maker's
That's
Mark.
so gross. And then did
she
you,
goes, hey, you know what would be fun? Put a bottle in me.
And did you like open it and drink out of it after that?
I think it was already gone.
He was like, yeah, just poured it on his face like Kevin Dubrow in 82 and Quiet Riot. Yeah, the stories Amber Heard is just telling are just gross. And the photos, there's like blood on the floor. And these poor people in this house in Australia that these two rented, There's photos of like the house is trash. There's huge wine stains on the wall. And,
Throwing it at each other and
oh
stuff.
God, she's like he
That should have been a reality show. They filmed the
split
wrong
my
part.
lip and broke a bed and all. I mean, she's given off serious Kyle Rittenhouse vibes. Make no mistake. Remember Kyle Rittenhouse, that kid that killed a couple of people and then he's up there fake blubbering on the stand? So people are kind of giving her a hard time for that, but the stories are gross.
He holds up this bottle. He's taunting me to take the bottle from him. I think like maybe the third time or so I get a hold of it. I pick it up and I slam it down on the ground right in between us. And that really set him off. He had a broken bottle by my jawline and he told me he'd carve up my face. I remember my feet slipping on the tile as he was slamming me from the wall to the countertops. I'm looking at it in his eyes, and I don't see him anymore. It wasn't him. It was black. I've never been so scared in my life.
Again, she's just telling these awful, awful stories. I mean, there are going to be no winners here in this trial, but again, you know, when you hear stories about people who are being abused, women who don't leave guys who abuse them, they're usually not rich women. There is a question of access. There is a question of ability to do something like that. It's not always just because, well, I thought he loved me and that's why I stuck around. These are two wealthy people. You wonder why they stuck around each other. I mean, after a while...
Well, some people feed on that toxicity, man. Like, it's not just because they're wealthy. Like, that's...
Understood, but that's
ingrained in some relationships.
right. But what I'm saying is, if you're both doing the same thing to each other, it makes it real hard when you're in court trying to prove that he abused you, and you could have left.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like, you know, I don't mean like when they tell any woman you could have left, because a lot of women can't leave. She could have left.
You're saying she has the means.
She has the means. Yeah. But it's
there's some people who are like that. They're obviously not telling any of the good parts here, right? So unless their relationship was 100% fighting and screaming.
Well, I think it quickly became this.
Yeah. So it's like if they were
because he's a
doing
mess
this,
and she's a mess.
Yeah, if they're doing this and then they have awesome makeup sex and then it's good for a few weeks and then they're like, oh, well, this is why I love you. I remember now. Then we went to Paris and then it was beautiful.
I guess
and,
I don't have that part of my brain where it would be, you know what? She had a broken beer bottle to my neck, but the sex is so good.
Yeah.
I don't have that part of my brain.
Not even the sex is so good, but like if that's a part of it. So then you both apologize and then they're rich so they take a trip to Greece or something.
This doesn't sound like she was into it.
No. I'm saying that that's just a part of, like, two people of means, I feel like they can have grandiose apologies. It's not just a, hey, I'm sorry, I'll come out of my room.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
let me take you to Greece for the week. And you know what I mean? And then you feel better about it. Like, whatever.
Hey, this is not the Cleveland version. It's like, hey, I'm sorry. Here's some pierogies.
Right. I got them from the
Yeah.
actual pierogi lady. They're $4 a piece. So.
How's Swenson sound, all right?
Right.
Tonight, you and me, tonight.
I'll even get you a little tray that sits on the window. We won't take it to go. We'll take our time and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Extra sour cream.
Yeah. We'll open up the moonroof. All right, I got a break. If you want to get tickets for that Collective Soul show, I will have them for you after the break. Collective Soul and Switchfoot are doing Nautica in July. And then 3:30 is the next chance for you to grab some money. Another chance to go fund yourself. Keyword with $1,000 coming up for you.
It's the Alan Cox